Taking profits does not mean exiting your entire position. It means keeping money in your pocket so you're playing with house money. I'm going to show you how to take profits right now. So, guys, come over to my screen right here. This is Google. And you notice that there's a lot of what's going on right now. This is my long-term chart. There's a lot of resistance happening up here where, okay, you had this big move on Google. I'm going to draw a line right across here. And you had a really nice run right here. But it continued on, but you can see that the run is pretty weak. And if we zoom in a little bit more here, look what we have going on. We have these wicks that are getting developed over the last couple of days. They're actually a inverse hammer and then a hammer. So the stock is kind of deciding what to do. And if you're in this thing, and if you bought this somewhere at $166.50, that's what we're going to call the number, okay? And you started this march on and this march on. At this point right here where I drew this horizontal line, that's where I'm taking profits. Now, when I say taking profits, I don't mean exiting the position. So let's say that you have $10,000 invested in this. I'm not saying go in there and get rid of $10,000 and move on because, guys, everything that I'm seeing here looks great. We still have a really nice trend on the long-term chart. And if we come over here, we actually have a really nice trend on the swing trading chart. More importantly than both, we have really great volume coming into this thing. Even maybe more important, you have great engulfing candlesticks that are continuing the climb. It's just taking a breather right now. And as it's taking a breather, you should take a breather. You might say, what does that mean? So taking profits. It is a part of trading that goes so overlooked and just costs people so much money. This is where I have made really the majority of my money is taking profits, knowing when to be smart about things. So if you're in a stock, and I'm going to use whole numbers, for example, okay? All right, guys, so let's do some just simple math here. So let's say that you invest $10,000 into a stock, okay? You have $10,000 and you're going to go up and let's say that you made 10% on a stock. All right. So now you have $11,000 sitting in your account, but the trade still looks good. Let's say that we're in Google. Let's say, I didn't count this, but let's say that this is a 10% gain just for simplicity here. I'm sure it's not 10%. Now you have 11,000. So what are you going to do to take profits? Do you sell all $11,000? No, the trade still looks good. Take $1,000 off the table. Go back to your cost basis. That's what I do. So I would take $1,000, sell it, and move back to $10,000. Now I have money to play with. Now I have house money. Now I feel a little bit more comfortable with what's going on. So if this starts to pull back on me, or I should say, if the trend starts to pull back on me, I'm just going to exit and I'm going to probably have a gain. Maybe I'll have $500, something like that. Maybe I'll have 5%. But if it doesn't and it continues to climb, what am I going to do? Let's say that these two hammer formations, the inverse hammer and then the hammer, continue to climb and this thing breaks out and it just keeps going. What do? I take my $1,000 and maybe more, usually more, and I put it back in and I just keep going. So now instead of 10,000 invested, maybe I have 15,000 invested and I have some house money to play with. This is how you keep money in your pocket because when you're running into this resistance point, you don't know what's going to happen. It could very well turn back down this way. And that's where people make the mistake. They make 10% and then they give all 10% back plus, and then they'll go into the negative because they didn't know when to take profits. Taking profits is so important. So when do you take profits? You take profits at resistance points like this. Well, the daily chart over here, if you're in a swing trade, for example, over here, let's just zoom into this swing trade just because it's simple to see. Let's zoom into this swing trade right here just because it's simple to see. If you're in something and you're moving up and you're running into the 100-day moving average, take some profits off the table. Remember, moving averages serve as resistance points. Take some profits. And if it continues to climb like it did, add it back on. If you're running into the 25, 50, whatever it is, take some profits. If you're coming down, if you're shorting, same thing. Take some profits going into the 100-day moving average on the way down. Look what happened the subsequent 4 days. It went sideways and then what? It went down more. Go ahead and add your profits back on, short more in that instance. When we come over to a day trading chart, this is so important. So this was a day trade that I actually made today. So this is Zim Shipping Company. So I recognized that, and I actually got this from a community member. This was traded live on a community live stream. We'll get into that in a little bit. This was given to me by a community member. I noticed trend was looking good. Volume was looking good. We were starting to get those engulfing candlesticks. I bought this thing at 1831. So I recognized it here from a member of the community, put an advanced order at 1831, got that engulfing candlestick push, and ended up selling at 1864. Why did I sell at 1864? Pretty easy. I come over here and I look on this chart. Yes, it's a day trade, but I came over here to look on my long-term chart. Why? Because I want to see those resistance support points where I take my profits. So let's zoom it out. Let's get over to where we're at. If you notice here, over the last 5 or 6 days, there was a point right in here. This number is 1862, right on that line where it had a very difficult time breaking. Can it break above 1862? Absolutely. It's at 1875 right now. But we want probability on our side. We want to make sure that we just do this over and over and over, and we just keep grabbing those little crumbs out of the bottom of the cookie jar. I don't need the whole cookie. If I can go in and make 1% per day, I'm going to be very, very happy at the end of 365 days. So look at this. This bottom right here, about 1862. The bottom of where this closed, about 1862. The bottom of this wick, about 1862, and the same for the subsequent wicks. And when we got to 1862, I said, you know what? I'm going to sell this and I'm going to move on. And that's exactly what I did. So I want to circle back to where we found this Zim trade. This was in our community. We go live multiple times a week to look at day trades, to look at swing trades, to teach about these little different things of when to take profits, what moving averages are, what kind of candles do you want to enter on, what do you not want to enter on, those hammers and inverse hammers that you heard me speak about earlier in the video, but I didn't go into any detail. It is a great place to get information. For those of you asking, Mostafa, where do I find stocks? Community is a great place to find stocks. Never, never, never would I have found Zim this morning if it wasn't for Bailey coming in and saying, hey, take a look at Zim for me. Take a look at see what we got going on here with a day trade. So right now it's $25 a month. It is less than 100 spots available. We have private content. We have private live streams. We have the community, which you can engage in 24/7, people all over the world just for trading. It is a fantastic spot to be, and it's a great place for you to start if you want to put a little bit of money in your pocket. So I'm actually going to point you to this morning's live stream. This was where I did the Zim trade live in action, and I went through it as deeply as possible. I want you to go check it out here. You guys have a great day.